I'm happy to know that we have someone here with us today who can really assist us from a knowledge base perspective and her expertise in dealing with development, business developments in Overy County and beyond, Georgetown. And we have with us Ms. Janet Graham. She is, I'll let you get the title.
Area manager.
Area manager.
For the Small Business Development Center,
Right.
that is at Coastal Carolina
Right.
University.
Right. So we had to correct the promotion.
Mhm.
Said it right. Good. And if you know who she is, and you know what business her husband has, why don't you give us a call? We're not gonna tell you. We'll tell you later on. So give us a call. Area code 843-248-6365. Next time we're gonna have some prizes on stuff like this. Okay, we have you to call in. Okay, but if you know, give us a call. Let us know the name of the business that the husband of Ms. Janet Graham has. Okay,
How much you giving away?
let them call first. Let them call
That's
first.
one out of the business pocket, I know.
If it is, it's not mine.
It already belongs
It
to
already
somebody
belongs to somebody.
Mhm.
So welcome to the program, Mr. Graham. And we're so happy to have you spit out this information to our community here that I think is critically in need. Okay? We just don't have enough small businesses that we think should be, that we had some time ago. Let me say that.
Yeah.
Okay? We had it, yeah, okay? It seems like we're not looking at the past and learning anything from the past. We're having small business all around. A race path all around areas now that are starving for small businesses. We just lost one of the major grocery stores.
Right.
Okay, that was a help to a lot of people who were in walking distance, and a lot of our elderly who didn't have cars, stuff like that, and they had some of the major grocery items at the store. That was Harvey. We don't know what's coming in there, but hopefully, I think it's going to be filled.
Okay.
There are opportunities for entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say that, Harvey's is gone, Vallow before that is gone. But sometimes we think really large.
Mhm.
But really, if we think small and start small, then you can grow that business into something, into a Vallow or Harvey's. So I think in our community, we need to step back like our foreparents did. And don't be afraid to start with a corner fruit stand or vegetable stand or something like
That's
that out of your
right.
home.
Mhm.
Because everything starts small and it grows into something big. Even us, we started as, one sperm, one egg, and now look at us. We're these major organisms.
That's right.
Be major.
Yes, everything starts small. So I think, the media tells us that you have to have all this money and start at the top. But I don't know of anybody who has really started at the top. And if you start at the top, you're missing a lot of steps that are going to help you to be successful. So I would say to us, look at what you do, look at what you know, look at who you are, and what you love. And that's a pretty good indication as to a business idea
Amen.
that you can make thrive and
Yeah.
work. Because if it's something you love, it's not going to be work. It's something that you want to do, and it's a passion that you have.
Yeah.
So that's usually where I tell people to start is, think small, and think about something that you really like, something that may answer a question or solve a problem that's in
Right.
the community. That's usually a good place to start as well. So all of us have ideas, but not all of us act on those ideas. Sometimes we get talked out of it. But if it keeps coming back and it keeps coming back and it keeps coming back, that's a pretty good indication of something that you might want to look into. And again, don't be afraid to start small. That's the ones who start small are usually very successful.
Really? Statistics bear that out.
Yes, because you're learning as you go.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
You're not missing major steps.
And you shouldn't take failure as that's all, or giving up or something. Right?
There is no failure.
Mhm.
If you use it correctly as a learning tool, there is no failure. My husband and myself, we've started businesses that have not thrived, but from each of those, you learn something.
Right, right.
And before, we didn't know about the SBDC when we were starting these businesses, which is a service that doesn't charge for consulting. So we kind of learned, on the ropes. We learned as we went along,
Right.
and we made mistakes that cost us money. But now if you do your homework ahead of time, and you kind of plan it out, that can save you, or help you to have better success. I'm not gonna say that you won't make some missteps, but at least you'll kind of anticipate what those might be or where they might
Right.
be coming from.
Right. But so sustainability is one of the keys here.
Yeah,
That you should really prepare for. If you plan well,
right.
you can.
You're actually planning to, when you start your plan, you're planning to add something to society. You know, I feel like each of us was put here, we have a special gift, some talent, something that's uniquely us, that we were sent here to share with the world. So if you can use that thing to better the world and people pay for it, I mean, that's a win-win. There's no better, that's like heaven on earth.
Mhm.
So always start from that place that you're adding something to society. Not that you're necessarily looking to make money or to be rich overnight, but I feel like when you're adding that thing that God gave you back to society, and you're putting your specialness, whatever it is, with that money will find you. You won't have to, knock the doors down and kill yourself to do it. If you're working from that place, the money will find its way to you. So, we all need to make money, and money is very important. But sometimes if we just step back and look at the natural gift that God has given us, that we're to share with the world, that is the thing that can open doors that we didn't even know were there.
That's true.
Just, we have a tendency to look at things from the commercial side, which is how we've been taught. But really, when you take a step back and look at where people are thriving and the types of businesses that are really succeeding today, a lot of it's really, really different and unique.
Right.
Just totally, 15, 20 years ago, it didn't exist. So don't let something that may seem like it's really small and insignificant stop you from exploring that idea as a business.
So, what do you think would have happened 15 to 20 years ago? Do you think that SBDC had existed then?
It did.
When?
78,
1978. Okay, pre-1978, and you had a lot of college graduates who went off to college and come back, local statewide colleges, and coming back. What do you think? How do you think it would have been? I thought would that have made a difference as to what the state that we're in right now? Because when I say state that we're in right now, I don't think we own enough businesses in these neighborhoods. Okay,
We get
should
dissuaded
be.
really easily.
Yeah.
There's a lot of paperwork involved in running a business. It's not just, I make the greatest cookie and everybody's gonna, buy my cookie. Yeah, that may be true, but there's also tons of DPEC regulations that you have to deal with. Depending on where you wanna sell it, there's paperwork you have to deal with your city, your county, your state. It could go on, and taxes never end. So, what I see is that we have a tendency, as African Americans, to not feel too confident with that paperwork or want to do it, which nobody does. But, finding somebody to help you through that and help you to understand that, and if you don't want to do it, finding somebody to do it, that can be key. I'm not sure if, I don't know if that's answering your question, but, we can do stuff, and we do it well.
Yeah.
Our ingenuity is out of bounds, but I
Yes,
think you're
ma'am.
right. We're just intimidated by the whole process.
Right.
Because
Yes.
a lot of us, if you think about it, and you were getting ready to tap on something that I wanted to tag on, the historical nature of business ownership, it didn't necessarily start with that formal college or university education. It was, granddaddy, like you said, had a fruit stand and passed it on to grandson and on and on and on. And so even if you take a look at what's happened around Conway, even in this primary corridor right here, and what we know about like that race path area, Okay, so where Smalls TV
Right.
was located,
Uh-huh.
to my understanding, I think the Kellys had ownership of
Right.
that at one point. And of course, if you're listening in and you know about some of the small businesses that existed, like in the 50s, 60s,
Right.
even 40s or even 70s or whatever, give us a call 843-248-2890 and join this discussion. But when you think about that and how that bit of business ownership was really the beginning of a lot of legacy pieces that we hear about, but we just don't see them anymore. So what happened? They kind of fell off, and I think that as probably as not necessarily business became more complicated, but maybe business ownership became more complicated, people just kind of started falling off in terms of what Janet is talking about, the paperwork, the legalities, the zoning, the this, the that, and the other. But we can't be intimidated by that. I mean, we can't allow that to stop our entrepreneurial spirit. And when I talk to students, for example, at Horry Georgetown Tech, who say they're business majors, it always baffles me when they can't tell me what that means.
It shouldn't.
Yeah.
Because I have, my undergraduate is in business, my master's is in business. But the business courses at the university, they teach you to be a cog in the wheel of
Mhm.
corporate America.
Mm-hmm.
They teach you how to go to IBM or PepsiCo or somewhere and work in that system.
Right.
But they have not necessarily taught us how to be entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneurs, that's
That,
right.
if you're a business major, that doesn't mean that you have those skills.
That's right.
What you have to do now is you have to actually seek out the entrepreneurial part of the business
Mhm.
curriculum,
Mhm.
which now it's booming, it's growing, because
right.
everybody understands now that I can be an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
It takes some work, but if I'm gonna put the work in for somebody else, I can do it for myself.
That's right. That's right.
So that's the issue. As we go into business thinking, when I get that 4-year degree, I'm gonna be able to start and run my own business.
Mhm.
Not
No.
necessarily so. And
No.
I deal with those students
Mhm.
a lot. And those are the ones sometimes that we have to re-educate and help them to take a step back. Because again, you're taught to be a cog in that corporate wheel.
That's right.
Not to think for yourself necessarily for your own business.
That's right.
So, and I wanted to speak on the legacy part as well, because a lot of the older businesses that were in Conway and other cities as well are gone.
Mhm.
Because the generation to follow, that's not necessarily what they wanted to do.
Mhm.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Outside.
Mhm.
Or it may not be as sexy as working in the office.
That's true.
But now I think we're coming back full circle where they're starting to realize that, my parents, they may not have had a lot of education, but they started a business,
Mhm.
with that second grade education, and they made it work.
And they make more money than I make.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you know what? I think it's getting its sexy back, because for a lot of young people to be able to say, at 25 I'm a business owner, or at 19 I'm a business owner, or
Yeah.
20, 30,
Right.
I own X amount of businesses by the time I was 30. You see that a lot, and I think that it's attributed to a lot of what we see in music, in movies. You're looking at, for example, your Jay-Z's and your Beyoncé's of the world. Our young people relate to celebrity in that respect, but they're relating not only to their music, now it's more about their wealth and how they're actually
Right.
amassing this wealth. They have the streaming music services, they have X, Y, and Z. And the young people nowadays, they have so many more options than even I had,
Yes.
just 20 or 30 years ago or whatever. 30 years, Jesus, coming out of college. And and definitely than our forefathers, so they really have no excuse. They have no excuse to, make their dreams flourish.
They can do
Whatever they want.
But mentorship is lacking.
Mhm.
Mentorship is lacking. There just isn't enough of it,
Well, too, if it's work, and we always
Mhm.
come back to that, whatever your dream is,
Right.
there's some work that has to fuel that dream. And so if I sit and I dream all day long and I want to do something and I never take a step, it's not gonna get done.
That's right.
So part of that mentoring is helping them to recognize the dream, but also to help them to understand how to put the pieces in place to make that dream become a reality and not turn into a nightmare.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of pieces. It can be done. It's not difficult. It isn't, but it is. It just takes work, and it takes a mind that you want to do it. And if you, you know, put that foot out there, there's always somebody that can help you. It might be that person that started that business that had the second grade education. They might not understand all the technology of today, but at the end of the day, business is buying and selling. That's all it is.
That's right.
That's all it probably ever will be.
That's it. That's it.
Meet and demand. That's right.
And
Supply.
having
Mhm.
good customer service skills, you know, we kind of, that's been downplayed a lot in recent years. Just get the money by any means necessary, but now it's coming back again full circle to where the food might be slamming in a restaurant, but if I walk in there and, you know, I'm treated like a third-class citizen, I'm not going back.
That's right.
And so customer service is important, how you treat people, how they feel, along with the product that you're delivering. So it's basic stuff. You know, you got a product or a service that somebody wants, you deliver it, a great product or a great service, and you do it with a smile.
And like you said, that part can make or break the deal. And I'll give you an example. With Black Bike Week this past weekend, there was a situation where a vendor wanted to come into the area to sell a product. And before coming into the area, this vendor made the announcement that they would be in the area, but automatically started to add a little negative twist to it by saying, I don't want my stuff to be stolen, and y'all gonna have to pay for it before I get there, and you need to do excellent. I can't tell you how that went viral just like that.
Right.
And people were basically saying, oh, well then don't come to Myrtle Beach.
Right.
Because we don't want they hadn't tasted one morsel of the food.
Right.
And yet that level of lack of customer service and customer respect, you know, I'm sure cutting the sales or sales were non-existent. But you're right, and you know,
It's actually a form of prejudice. You're prejudging.
you're
a segment.
prejudging,
You're
yeah, prejudging
a
a segment of the population you want to buy your product.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
You already pushed them away.
Yeah, so you're right, and we do it all the time. Like you said, we go back to places where we're treated like somebody, and we appreciate the experience. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of small businesses forget that. We see that a lot in, and I'm gonna go ahead and call it what it is. You know, beauty salons and places like that, where people often are jumping around and finding new stylists because, you know, well, my stylist took an hour to get started on my hair, or, you know, didn't give me exactly what I wanted or whatever. That's just one example.
Right.
So, you know, there's a lot that kind of underpins the
They
small.
won't apologize.
They won't apologize for it. It's just that's how I am. Get used to it. Get in line.
Right.
And that's not the way to, you know, treat your customers. And so, you know, all of that underpins small business ownership, and that's why I was excited that you were going to be here today, because I think that we have so many people who are interested in small business ownership, but they need to understand what it really means. It's more than just turning the key
Yes.
and turning the lights on. It is about all of those
It's you.
aspects. Yeah.
It's you. And if you're not a people person, let's say you work best in the back of the room with the door closed and the shades pulled. You probably don't need to have that restaurant where you have to
Right.
deal with the public every day,
Mhm.
because that's not your personality,
Right.
and you're not going to deal well with that clientele. So, you know, finding a match for what you do and what you love. There are people who thrive in that back room. They
Mhm.
love that back room. But you know, sometimes we think, well, I'm a back room person, but you know, this job can make me this much money in this period of time, so I'm
Mhm.
going to do it. It's probably not going to work.
That's right.
Because the personality, the customer service skills, the way you relate to people and they relate to you is off-center.
Mhm.
It's not real, it's not authentic. So it's just basic stuff that you learn at the knees of your mother. You know, just give the people what they want, give them a good product, give it with a smile, and they'll come back.
And they'll come back. You're listening to the Whittemore Community Magazine's
That's
Our
exactly-
Power.
Exactly what you're listening to.
And right here on WPJS 1330 AM. You can tune in through WPJSradio.com or WCMagazine.net. And we've already been here for 30 minutes and learned a lifetime
Hey,
of stuff.
she hasn't even got
She
to
hasn't
it.
even got
None
to
of
us.
them are-
Exactly. This is just the build-up. You know, I'm ready for, you know, all the other stuff, right? So if you want to join the conversation, or if you have questions for our special guest, Janet Graham, give us a call at 843-248-2890 or 843-248-6365. And
Well, nobody's calling about
the capital.
No, no, well, two things.
I had
The
forgot about
capital-
I wanna know what that is.
All right, look at the camera and say, capital is, what's the capital?
You want me to look, okay, the capital of Conway is Sugar Hill.
Okay,
Yes.
I can go with that,
Yeah.
down with it.
All right,
Sugar Hill.
all right, Sugar Hill, that's right.
I learned something today.
That's right.
And, what was the other item?
You had the second item.
Who,
You said two.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, it was,
Yeah.
And this second portion, the second segment of the Community Magazine Hour Power brought to you by Snag and Drag. So you should have called in, 843-248, let's give you another opportunity.
Mhm.
843-248-6365, 843-248-2890. Also, you got two numbers you can call in, okay? Next week, we're gonna have a prize for you.
Okay.
For calling in and guessing those things like that.
Yeah.
We're just so business oriented. See that? Yeah.
You call it now.
Yeah,
You gave
yeah.
them the answers and they're gonna call in and give us.
Yeah, now they're calling to give us answer.
Somebody from Sugar Hill.
Probably so.
Probably from Sugar Hill.
Probably so, yeah.
Stand by.
So, no, you got a call?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
You know PJ's wearing a couple of hats, give him a second.
Yeah. You're listening to the Whittemore Community Magazine Hour Power right here on WPGS 1330 AM on your dial. It's probably time for commercial.
We don't have time. It is,
Well,
we have 10 minutes left in the
That's
show.
it,
It's
that's
that
it.
good.
Is that good?
So we gotta get back to Miss Janet.
No, that's right,
yeah.
that's right.
Well, I mean, the callers are calling because of Janet, so.
Brother Greg, I hope you're looking.
Yes. You know, they're calling because of Janet. So, one of the things that I posted on social media, which is a question I'm sure everybody has, how do you get started? What do you do when you're thinking about owning a business? You have this great idea and you want to get it to the market. What's the first thing that people need to do?
I think they really need to sit down and think about it, and then start just jotting some things down. A simple plan. It doesn't have to be rocket science, but just, you know, what am I providing? What problem am I solving?
Mhm.
That's major, because we don't usually spend money on something unless it's providing some benefit to us.
That's right.
You know, we don't buy toothpaste just because we like the tooth.
That's right.
We buy it because it's doing something for us. So
Right.
figure out what it is that people would spend their money on, how you're gonna get the money out of their pocket into yours. What's the benefit? What are you selling? What are they buying? Have a simple plan. Know who your target is, who your market is,
Mhm.
because you're probably not gonna be able to sell your product to everybody on the planet.
True.
So figure out who it is that's gonna buy your product and where they are and how you're gonna get to them. And then pricing. Are you going to be able to be the low-cost provider, the cheapest person on the planet, and compete with Walmart?
Mhm.
Or are you going to maybe provide a better product or service and charge a little bit more, like a custom type product? So just some very simple things, and then do a little test to see. I think people like these purple, you know, hats that have a tail sticking out of the back and that light up at the night, because I love them.
Mhm.
But are people willing to pay the $50 that it's gonna cost me to make this and
Exactly.
sell it? So do a little test
Yeah,
Mhm.
to kind of see.
See what the market can
See what
do.
the market wants,
See if they
basically.
want it.
Mhm.
You know, just because I love it doesn't mean everybody else will. So just little simple things like that. And if people respond to it and you can do it and you like doing it,
Right.
start selling, you know, small.
Right.
Getting a feel for it.
Right.
But don't quit your day job.
That's right.
That's
You
right.
gotta get them used to it.
I would suggest that maybe you do some co-marketing. You said you have a lot going on.
Mhm.
And you know, I usually tell people to focus, but you got a lot going on there. Like your Herbalife and your cancer screening, they may go together. And so you might want to try to find a like business that complements what you do. Like, let's say, I think there's a honey store somewhere there that kind of sells CBD oils and that kinds of stuff.
For the CBD.
Yeah. So that's a business that you're going after the same target. You're going after the same client, the same customer, but you're going at them from different ways. So you in that business may be able to find a way to market together where when you have their marketing materials in your store, and you're kind of pushing people to their store, and they're doing the same for you because you have the same client, but you're not a head-to-head competitor. You're not really in the same going after the same thing. You're doing it in different ways. So try to find, like if I were a photographer, I would try to co-market with someone who was a caterer, and someone who made wedding dresses. And, you know, because we all are going after that same bride, but we're going at it from different places. So that might be an easy way to start building some market. I don't know that people actually mistrust people because of the age. I don't think it's a thing about mistrust. It's just that it's business, and you've got to go out and develop that market, and that's what it is helping them to know who you are, what you do, that you have an expertise in how to provide herbal remedies for whatever their ailment is. And that's going to require that you get out in the community. Maybe you might want to join the chamber, start getting involved in some of those events, because I always say people do business with people that they know, and then it helps if they like you. So just start getting out, putting the word out, maybe have some testimonials from some people that you work with, and it works. But you just start building slowly, and start making those connections with other businesses that you may be able to work with, that you can complement each other. And come and see me.
All right, well, thank you so much, Ashley.
Come to see me too.
Yeah, come see PJ for that marketing, right?
There you go, absolutely.
Exactly.
See what the Whittemore Community Magazine, our power can produce.
We networking and
Isn't it?
connecting people. I guess we can give Janet the last minute or two for
Right.
some parting words or parting advice for anyone who's thinking about going into business, because we're gonna have her back. Like she says, we need to do a series.
A series, okay? We're gonna
Mhm.
call this a series.
Absolutely.
This is series 1.
It's pre-series.
Yes,
Pre-series.
Just a
yeah.
taste of
See,
what's
Just
to
a
see,
taste,
see,
yeah.
y'all come in with suggestions,
Yeah.
right?
See, I love it. I love it. Bring her back, and we're gonna focus on some very
That's
specific
right.
topics.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Exactly,
like that.
exactly.
We can do
And
that.
since we're on video, if you have any graphics that you want to show on video, no.
Let's see. It's just SBDC. That's what we do. Just you can do a search.
Yeah, yeah.
SBDC and put in Coastal Carolina University. It'll take you to us. Our services, we provide consulting, which is no charge, and we also do workshops and that type of stuff. And we can help you get your business started or grow it.
We're having the orientation for all the students who are the prospective students and the students who have already signed on. We have a orientation, 11 o'clock Saturday morning, June 8th, at the Conway Recreation Center. All
It's
right?
11 and not 1.
11 a.m.
11 a.m.
11 a.m.
Okay, all right.
11 to 1.
11 to 1.
11 to 1, yeah.
All right.
So, all the students who have not signed on, you gotta register. You can give us a call, give April a call, myself. Call my number here, record 202-460-1390. April, what's your number?
843-457-5308.
Good,
Yes.
good. And, yeah.
My number?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
843-349-5070.
Okay. PJ, how much more time we got, PJ? Huh?
Music out louder.
Huh?
I know you've been around long enough to know the cue.
Well, you can call me Jedar Falk, 248-9390, okay? 843-248-9390. She is the treasurer. You can call that. Also, if you're looking for a summer job, give us a call, okay? Those numbers. And we want to thank our guests. Again, this is series 1.
This is a pre-series.
Pre-series,
Uh-huh.
man. Because this is a critical issue for the community, okay? It's that we get our economic house in order, okay? In order to partake of the things with force. I'll say it like that, okay? You gotta have those economics.
Thrive and grow.
Yeah,
That's
thrive and
right.
grow. You have those economics. Everything else is secondary.
There you go.
See you next week,
Thank you.
and thank you so much.
Great
Ms.
show.
Janet Graham.
Mhm.